Good evening, and welcome to This Hour Has 22 Cryptids with Sean Deppner and Tim Carlson. Tim, how you doing tonight?
I'm so good. And can I just say how much I love the name of this show? I love it.
I also love it, and it's great that we've known it the whole time.
Yeah.
We didn't mention it the first two episodes as a treat, so that we could
We
wait for
revel
this
in it
very
in the third
moment.
episode.
Yeah. So without further ado, you've listened to 2 episodes. You know what we do here. Tim, if you're ready, let's go on a journey together.
Let's dive in to the Cryptid show.
Then without any further ado, let's get spooky.
Look, I can't talk that loudly. I shouldn't be saying anything at all. It might hear me, but I needed to know you were out there and talk to you one more time, just in case anything happens to me. Welcome to Blackwater D&D, where good friends tell better stories. This 4-part podcast miniseries uses the Cryptid Show, which was created by Anna Casilla of Atticus House, now available through +1 EXP for purchase. And they also graciously sponsored this show. This series features Tim Carlson and Sean Deppner alternating as caller and host as they tell some bite-sized tales of the bizarrely sweet, hauntingly esoteric, or just plain weird. And even if Mothman is on your Hear Me Out list, this show may contain themes and depictions that are triggering for some listeners. Please take care of yourself and access safe support as you see fit. Content warnings for this episode include unsafe water, more animal noises, and gastrointestinal issues. So get comfy, listeners, and don't adjust those dials. Welcome to This Hour Has 22 Cryptids. Episode 3, The Cat's Meow. And please, if I don't make it back, I'm out in the woods near...
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Cryptid Radio Canada, the People's CBC. I am, of course, your host, Gander Halifacts. That's ACTS. Here speaking the truth to power, because I believe radio is a powerful tool of the people, and anyone who has a radio is thus powerful, and I'm speaking truth to you. Who do we have on the line today? Speak your truth, friend.
Hi. I am Chester McNee, a really big fan, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Incredible, Chester. Look, let me tell you, I'm a fan of you already. I know you got good taste. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, but I'm a little rattled. I'm good, but I'm a little rattled, Mr. Halifacts.
Has the truth been dawning on you?
Yeah. You know, it really has, and recently something happened to me that's really inspired me to call in to be a first-time caller, and I just really, I thought you would be the best person to talk to, and I know sometimes you're a skeptic. I know, that's why I like your show, but I really think I experienced something, you know?
Chester, thank you so much for that. I feel like I'm really experiencing your love right now because, of course, skepticism is love. There's a lot of false narratives out here. Sasquatch is, of course, a fiction. There is only Bigfoot. And the misinformation around Bigfoot propagated by this Canadian government, so-called Canadian government.
Big Squatch.
Big Squatch? I'm not having it. Don't even get me started on the Ogopogo. Anything that's a parallelogram can't be trusted.
No way.
I don't think any race cards are real, and that's a fact.
Yeah. I don't believe in palindromes either, or parallelograms.
Yeah, those are we both said the same thing, Chester, and that's what I love about this conversation. But Chester, I want to hear something new. Couldn't you tell me? Sounds like you've had a harrowing experience as you stared into the void, and perhaps the void was staring also, and the void of listeners would also love to stare into you, as I am with my ears.
This is just it, because it's actually very apt that you were talking about Ogopogo, or so-called Ogopogo, because the thing that I saw was just under the surface of Alice Lake, just outside of Squamish, British Columbia.
I know it well.
Yeah, and I was on a really nice. I was having a really nice day, like a spring sort of. I like to do a polar swim. Have you heard of these? Do you know these?
I don't, and I'm afraid of things that I don't know.
It's sort of like.
Please don't tell me about it.
You're right. Anyways,
If you could describe your interaction without giving me any more information about what a polar swim is.
okay, yeah. Early spring. I was there. I was in my. I like to wear just like a short. They're short shorts. Just for maximum skin exposure for the thing I won't explain.
Good.
But I was preparing. I was doing my deep breaths to plunge myself into the cold waters of Alice Lake, and when just under the surface of the lake, I spotted something, and it gave me quite a start because what I saw, well, it looked like a tabby cat, like a Garfield tabby cat. But I tell you, the vibes were all off, okay?
We're talking about a very orange small cat that quite likely enjoyed lasagna.
Almost certainly. And I would say it was small but large. It was a thick tabby, as admittedly a lot of tabbies are. I don't know if it's a breed thing or if it's just, the people who get tabbies tend to like to dote on them. I don't know.
You're talking about a big-boned cat, a cat that maybe had more than just bones under that fur.
It was pretty thick and lumpy, and it's something about it. It was right beneath the surface, which was alarming because I know that cats hate water. I know that.
Uniformly, absolutely.
Every book that I've ever read, and it just was so alarming to me because I was about to plunge, two hands in, and this cat, this thick lasagna-loving cat, was staring back at me. And it was sort of a soft orange tabby, I would say. Soft orange and white.
Now, I need to be very clear here. When you're talking about a Garfield-like tabby, was this a cat trimmed from a newsprint article? Was this a two-dimensional cat, or in fact resembled a mammal that you and I might be familiar with?
Well, it looked like a 3D rendering of a tabby cat.
What generation of 3D rendering? Is this something that would be right at home in Star Wars currently, or Star Wars The Phantom Menace?
Certainly The Phantom Menace. And that's what I mean, the vibes were off.
That is deeply unsettling.
It had no ambient occlusion, not at all.
Colors absolutely washed out.
It absolutely had no true blacks. It was plasticky, I would say.
We're not counting the polygons. Not yet.
Absolutely
No.
not.
This ain't Ocarina of Time.
But it was alive. I know it was not a toy. I know that in my soul. Okay? I know that. I know that for a fact it was not a toy because it opened its mouth and made that chirping sound. You know that chirping sound birds do when they're hunting?
I know the chirping. I know the chirping sound that
sort of
cat
chitter.
Makes, sort of a. Were they doing that?
Yeah, but no, it was more of a chitter, like a. Sometimes when they're staring at birds, I've seen them do that. They chitter. Yeah. Exactly, and it was chittery, but it was underwater, so it sounded muffled. It sounded sort of like.
Yeah.
But there was no bubbles. This is the thing. There was no bubbles.
Chester.
I told you the vibes were off. Okay.
Chester, I'm beginning to suspect this may have been some sort of a hologram projected by I don't know what, but you have to tell me more. You have to. My interest has been piqued. I'm on the line.
My heart rate was extremely elevated at this point. My breath work totally out the window. I was so ungrounded in this moment. I was so ungrounded, and I knew that this thing, it had to be here for a reason, And then as I looked at its eyes, its sort of glassy eyes, it seemed. I don't know how else to put this. But it seemed embarrassed. It seemed embarrassed that I'd seen it. As though it realized it had just performed some kind of, I don't know, cryptid faux pas.
You think that this was a sighting when the cryptid itself wasn't ready to be sighted?
I don't think it was ready. I think it was like I walked in on it in a in a tender private moment, and it sort of it was like, this is not how I'm meant to be observed, and that, like, I've been caught out.
Like maybe the render wasn't quite complete.
Maybe
this hologram was still buffered, if it is a hologram.
if it is a hologram, and I mean, which is an interesting theory, Mr. Halifacts. That's an interesting theory. I hadn't even considered that. Because I didn't know what embarrassment on a cat would look like until I saw it like that, and I knew, right, I recognized that. I said, that's embarrassment. I know that anywhere. I feel that almost on the daily. I'm often very embarrassed of my own presence as I move through the world.
That makes complete sense from everything I know about you.
Yeah.
Now, I've never seen embarrassment on a cat except when they trip or maybe don't quite land a jump of some kind. How did you know this cat was embarrassed in this way that you deeply connected with?
Well, I saw myself in it. That there was sort of its whiskers sort of retreated, and its ears kind of went down, and its eyes were wide, and I think I saw a little bubble emerge from its rear end, like it maybe let out a little nervous fart, which I can relate to. I've let out more than my fair share of nervous little toots.
Look, we've all, squeezed out a little accidental when the pressure's on. But what you've just said has just flipped this story on its head. Up until now, there have been no bubbles. And now we have incontrovertible proof about physical interaction with this world. Folks, we're not dealing with a hologram anymore. This is some sort of interdimensional cat that is embarrassed on a cosmic level. I think. We don't know for sure.
And I was left with a very interesting feeling. I was left with a very interesting feeling that I'll do my best to describe it.
Please.
Well, it was like fingers were clawing at my stomach from the inside, pushing against my flesh. Like little paws making biscuits inside of me, pushing out, which was uncomfortable to say the least.
Now, look, I think we've all felt butterflies when we're feeling nervous, and you're talking about this secondhand embarrassment that you're feeling from this cat. Is it possible that this was a nervous tummy as a result of the social anxiety on behalf of this feline under the water?
I guess it's possible that I had some proxy embarrassment, or, some of those mirror neurons of my own experience firing in this strange moment. But it really felt like there were tiny little claws in my body pushing out. Mr. Halifax, what do you make of that? I mean...
Chester, this is maybe an uncouth question, but I think it's going to really cut to the heart of things. Could you tell me about your bowel movements since this exchange?
I've had a lot of what I can only describe as IBS.
The IBS, do you see little cat bones that you might see within paws?
There hasn't been any little bones, but certainly fur. There's been a lot of fur. I've been passing a lot of fur.
And I have to ask, just to be thorough, have you been consuming fur through your mouth, Chester? You have to be honest with me. I'm a radio. You have to be honest.
Okay. I did. There was a hairball that I came across. My roommate has a cat, and it had. There was a bit of fur. It wasn't a fur ball that it had ejected from its own mouth, but he had been, brushing it quite a bit, and so a little bit of fur had collected, and I guess an intrusive thought kind of got the best of me, and I did eat it, but it was a very small amount, and I've been passing way more fur than that.
Folks, the power that I very dutifully carry over here at Cryptid Radio Canada is to pass on the truth to the people. This is, of course, the people's radio, because 70% of people are cryptids in disguise. And it's also my duty to point out bad actors. And Chester, my friend, I think you have come on here to discredit the CBC, the people's CBC. I think you're a little freakster who likes chewing down fur, and you're going to pass off your IBS as some sort of cryptid encounter. You can take your little Garfield story, I hate monies, go take it up with Sasquatch.
Well, that is just not true, Mr. Halifax. Okay, this is, as somebody who has supported you through thick and thin, when you almost got canceled, okay? When you almost got canceled about the Lake Champlain monster, Cadbrosaurus. Do you remember that? Yeah. I remember the remarks you made. I remember that day. And you, sir, almost got canceled, but I stuck by you. I pledged your Kickstarter, your GoFundMe. I contributed to your legal defense. Okay, so you just better check yourself, Chester. Okay? Because me, Chester, I believe in you. Okay, and in this moment, I need help.
I'm hearing you, and I think you couldn't have picked a better word. I'm talking about the way you've been supporting me. And if you at home want to support me, you can get involved on our special right now on Moth Slime. Straight from Mothman Industries. If you are concerned that your friends or relatives have been eating your clothes, cover them in moth slime. Keep your suits safe. Dry, clean, friendly, wet, clean, destructive. Moth slime is the only way to go, and I see that I have muted Chester, and he will not be speaking for the rest of the show. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Remember, the truth is within the radio. It comes from my voice. Have a great night.
This Hour Has 22 Cryptids is performed by Tim Carlson and Sean Deppner. Editing and sound design by M. Carlson, with music and effects from Epidemic Sound. For more stories, come follow us everywhere at Blackwater D&D, and make sure to check out our main campaign on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/BlackwaterD&D. To get your talons on the Cryptid Show, go purchase the game over at the Plus One XP website and use the code Blackwater10 in all caps to get 10% off your purchase of the Cryptid Show or any other game, including your first month of the RPG Zine Club. This show is made possible by our sponsors, who let us tell stories about things that go bump in the night and have big feelings about it. Thank you to the folks over at Plus One XP for sponsoring this series, so go check them out over at plusoneexp.com. Finally, we're thankful to our patrons for joining us on the late night airwaves. You too can come join us on Patreon, where you can check out behind-the-scenes info, our talkback show Chatwater, as well as exclusive bonus content and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/BlackwaterD&D for all the info. See you next time, listeners. And to all you creeps out there, be safe.